wear and tear on my Model 3. Got 75,000 miles on it at this point, and yep, I wanted to share with you guys the wear and tear that I've seen on this car. So let's dig into it. All right, welcome back to the channel. It is a bright and sunny day here in Northern Illinois. Driving into the sunrise, I can see that the inside of my windshield really needs to be cleaned. I have to do that sometime today. I'm on my way to one oven service call that I need to take care of, but I've been wanting to share this for quite some time. Just the normal wear and tear that my car has seen over the 75,000 miles, and let me think here, whatever it is, 22 months, 21, 22 months that I've owned this car. So first off, let me start by saying welcome to the channel. Whether you're new or have been watching for a while, thanks for watching. I know that a lot of us right now with this virus pandemic have a lot of time on our hands. Since I bought this car, as with any other machine, there's going to be wear and tear. Now, I love my Tesla, and at 75,000 miles, honestly, it still drives, it still feels like brand new. And most of the cars that I've owned, right about 60 to 70,000 miles, they start, you can feel them. You can kind of feel a little bit of play in the suspension and the steering, and they just sort of show their age and show their miles. This car hasn't done that. But a lot of times I think people tend to assume that Tesla vehicles are somehow magical and they're never going to wear out. Well, first off, I'm here to say that I firmly believe that this car will last 2, 3, 4 times longer than your typical gasoline car equivalent. In case you're wondering what that error is, it says left door pillar camera blocked or blinded from the sun on the left. If that's blinding the camera, I apologize. But there are certain things in this car that do wear. So item number one, right off the bat, within a week of owning the car, I noticed that the floor mats were wearing out. Right where the driver's heel sits, it's just this cheap crap fuzz stuck to really cheap backing. I don't know if they've changed the floor mats since then. That would be a very easy thing for the factory to change, but for my early VIN 9300 and something, the floor mats were completely unacceptable for a $50,000+ car. I mean, they were garbage. So I pretty much immediately ordered new floor mats. They are packed away because of the winter time. I'll be getting them out here soon. So if I can get an image of them, I'll show them here. But otherwise, here are the winter floor mats I'm using, which are MaxSpider 3D floor mats. Awesome, absolutely awesome. And but I will be going back to my carpet floor mats here soon. I got some aftermarket floor mats, had them custom made. So item number two is I noticed over the duration that I've owned it that the left armrest on the door is worn, and the padding where my elbow sits, so the upholstery is shined up right there and the padding has become misshapen. So that's an item. I have not noticed the same thing on the center armrest. Initially I thought, well, it's just because my elbow's always there, it's going to happen on any car. Well, there's something different about the center armrest, because I have both arms in the same spot all the time, and yet the center armrest is totally fine. The door armrest is worn, so I think the padding they use underneath there is different on the door than it is on the center armrest. So item number three, and this is something I noticed pretty early on, was the piano black finish in the center console. Though it's gorgeous when the car is new, it shows every single speck of dust, every fingerprint, every tiny little minute scratch. The minute you wipe dust off with your fingers, your skin leaves scratches in it. And now I don't know if that's changed, if this is just an early car issue, but I highly recommend this type of satin wrap. I just got this on Amazon for $8.99 shipped. They were die cut pieces. Bit of a pain to put on if you're going to do it. I did this. I ordered 2 of them, figuring I'd screw up at least one, and I did. There's 3 separate panels, one for the cell phone door, which is open on mine right now because of my tablet. One for this compartment door, and one to go around the drink holder there. And you learn by screwing up one or two of the panels, and then you put the kit on properly after you figure it out, but that was very worth doing. So I have not noticed any wear and tear on the seats, which is surprising. The seats are totally fine. One thing I will say, and I don't want to take it off to show you, but my driver's side headrest, I actually have a black just winter hat stretched over it and tucked up underneath the bottom seam there, because due to the glass roof, I was wearing a hat for a while, and the buckle from the hat was leaving little damage, left a couple little damage spots on the upholstery of the headrest. And also my I have oily skin on my my shiny head here, and the oily skin was leaving a spot on the headrest, and my hat buckle was marring the surface, so I stretched a ski hat, a winter ski hat over the headrest, and it's nice and soft and comfortable, and it solves both problems. So the vegan interior, it's not as durable as leather, so that buckle did affect it. But again, the seats themselves have really not worn down. So next item is, and I did a video on this, my driver's side upper control arm, the ball joint didn't wear out, it got tight. It's like the lubrication inside left it or something, and I would get a creak or squeaking sound as I hit bumps or turn the wheel. And you can't replace the ball joint, you have to get the upper control arm. It's $160 from Tesla, really not that expensive. It took me about an hour and 40 minutes to replace, and that was me not knowing what I was doing. I could probably do another one in 40 minutes. So so that wore. The brakes, there is, and I recently did a video on rust, not just surface rust, but rust pitting on the rotors because of the one pedal driving that you can achieve with a Tesla. I would recommend do the 1 foot driving as much as possible, but occasionally hit the brakes to really clean the rotors off, because if rust stays on the rotors for any length of time, they will pit. So there's a little bit of rotor pitting. There's no pulsing of the pedal. The brakes still grab consistently and strong, so I'm not worried about it as yet, but I am keeping my eye on it. So one other item, and this one is a little bit more disconcerting, and I'm not the first person to report this, but my car has high miles, and I've really just begun to notice it, and that is the lower rocker panels on both the driver and passenger sides, where they wrap around just behind the front tires. The sandblast from constant debris coming off the tires hitting there has blasted the paint off. Now, I don't know if they're galvanized or if it's just thick primer or what the deal is, but for a while I was noticing just the paint. Well, now I'm seeing surface rust on the driver's side. So I think this weekend I'm going to go ahead and just do a bit of a home repair on that to start. I don't want to take it into a body shop, you know, this time of year. Well, this time with the virus, it's not an urgent, you know, thing. Nor do I want to part with that much money to pay a professional body shop to correct it. So I'm probably going to go ahead and sand those areas nice and clean myself, and coat them, paint them, or possibly even just use a two-part epoxy or something and coat that area. It's not really wrapped around where you can see it. It's just inside the wheel well area there. That's, I don't want to say it's disconcerting, but it's a little bit frustrating to see that. But I've had it on other cars too, so you know, it is what it is. Let's see here. Those are really the primary things. I can't comment on wear on the steering wheel. I've had people ask me that, mainly because I've replaced steering wheels a number of times. If you watch the channel, you'll know that I have a bunch of cut top, flat bottom, custom steering wheels that I've been fabricating and installing and taking off. This is not the original steering wheel from my car. It's one I got on eBay. But I can tell you the steering wheel is wrapped in actual leather. I think now you can get them wrapped in a vegan material, but I wouldn't recommend that, because since you're grabbing it all the time, it will wear rapidly. I have had other cars that the steering wheel will wear shiny right where you put your hands, but you know, again, I've replaced my wheel several times, so I don't know about that. If you'll notice, I've got Alcantara covering the wood on the dash panel there. That Alcantara I installed not because there was an issue with the wood, I just didn't like the look of the wood. There was zero wood in the car other than that one panel, so I thought it looked out of place. It felt like I was piloting a boat rather than driving a car. So it was my own taste. I put Alcantara on it. That wasn't due to any wear issues. And if you're curious about that, I didn't go to an accessory place or anything. I just took that panel off. If you guys want to see a video on how to remove that dash panel, it's very easy to do. But I took that dash panel off, brought it into an upholstery shop, and said, wrap this in Alcantara, black Alcantara. And about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, they called me back. It was $200. They had it wrapped. So, so that's that. I considered wrapping the center console pieces in the same Alcantara. But I got to tell you, Alcantara on a horizontal surface does collect dust and hair. So I blow it off with compressed air periodically. That is the best way to clean Alcantara, to clean dust off of it anyway. So I don't know that I want large horizontal area like this covered in Alcantara. I like the satin finish there. So those are the main items. I did a video on what has broken on the car, but I'll give you just a brief list. I've had a windshield replaced. That was $1,020. My insurance covered it other than my deductible, but I had that replaced. I have replaced tires. Now, people have asked, how long do the factory tires last? That's an interesting question. I got the 18-inch Aero wheels and tires. They're currently on the car. They're the factory original tires, but they were only on the car for maybe 8,000 miles, 10,000 miles, something like that. And then I got my 20-inch wheels and aftermarket tires. Those tires eventually started feathering and cupping around the diameter, so I was getting road noise. So I replaced those with another set of Falken Azenis tires. Those are awesome, but the rears eventually wore out. This is a rear-wheel drive car, and I'll get a little sporty with it. Kind of wore out the rear tires. And the front tires, though they weren't worn, they were beginning to cup, similar to the previous tires I had on it. So I pulled the 20-inch wheels and tires off, put the 18s back on, mainly to finish out the winter time. And once we get past this pandemic, I'll go ahead and have new tires put on my 20-inch wheels and put those back on the car. So I've probably got 20,000 miles or so on the factory 18-inch wheels and tires. And these tires, in the maybe say 20,000 miles or so that I've driven these factory 18-inch wheels and tires, I've noticed that they wear a little bit more rapidly than most wheel tire combinations that I've had on cars that I've owned. But they are eco tires, so I don't know if that affects it. I do know that before this I had a Ford C-Max hybrid, and it had eco tires on 18-inch wheels, and those tires lasted 93,000 miles per set. I went through 2 sets, both of them at 93,000 miles. They were down to the wear indicators. So absolutely phenomenal, those tires. And these, not so much. I would say the stock Tesla 18-inch Aero wheels, the tires they put on them are probably 35,000 mile tires. That's about it. But again, that could have changed. I don't know if the later Model 3s use different tires or not. But that's pretty much my experience. I can tell you that the headliner, I've been grabbing this little flap. I've never cleaned it, and even though I use my hands for work, I do clean them, but I've never had to clean any of this cream-colored upholstery or headliner, sun visor stuff at all, including even this little tab for the mirror cover. It's all stayed nice and clean. So overall, wear on this car has been very minimal. One other item, and I mentioned this in a previous video, one of the drive unit rubber motor mounts is bad. So when I let off and floor it, I can hear and feel a pronounced thunk coming from the rear. And that's just like with a gas car, there's rubber-filled engine mounts. Well, there's rubber-filled drive unit mounts in this car, and one of those is worn and allowing the drive unit to rock. So that's a wear item also. But I think that pretty much covers all of it. I just want to be transparent with you guys. Again, how much of this is due to the fact that I have an early VIN versus just all Model 3s, I really have no idea. But that's been my experience, and I don't know how much of this will translate over to the Model Y or not. I guess only time will tell. So thank you for tuning in. One other quick thing. I do have a sale running on adjustable screen mount kits. If you notice, this moves the screen to the side. It doesn't swivel. It's fixed in a position. You can either fix it in a flat position or angle toward the driver. It's slightly lowered and tipped forward. These screen mount kits I manufacture, they're on a sale right now because I actually have a handful in stock. There's currently no wait time to ship them. I got a large batch about a month back. So I'm running a sale on them. Just if you've got nothing to do during this virus time, go ahead and order one. There'll be a link in the description below for those. That is about it. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I own 2 other EVs besides this that I do the occasional video on. I'm going to be doing some comparison videos on all 3 EVs coming up here shortly. And so I appreciate all you guys. And in this time of quarantine, let's be safe. Let's be safe and wise. I go out when I have an emergency job, and I get a couple of them a day. But other than that, I'm stuck at home as well, just trying to get through this time the best we can. So thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And as always, stay charged. Bye-bye now.